everyone, my name is Sarah, and today we are going to be learning about the history of Spam. So, how many of you guys like eating Spam? I definitely ate it semi-often as a child. I know that it's really popular here in Korea. People put it in budae-jjigae, they put it in kimbap. It's super tasty, very salty. It's probably not too good for you, but hey, I mean, if it tastes good, that's good, right? So I actually didn't really know a whole lot about the history of this food. I knew it had something to do with the military, but beyond that, I didn't know a whole lot. So this article was a lot of fun to read, and I definitely learned a lot of stuff. So I hope that you can also learn a lot from today's presentation. Okay, so we're gonna go through it one sentence at a time. Spam is a brand of canned pork from Hormel Foods Corporation. It was introduced in 1937 to increase sales of pork shoulder cuts. Spam is made up of pork, salt, sugar, water, potato starch, and sodium nitrate. Okay, so I think this is stuff that you guys may already know, but Spam is pork in a can, so basically pig meat, just in can form. But it actually hasn't been around for that long. It was introduced by Hormel Food Corporation in 1937. So that's about 80 years of history, I think 83, since it's 2020 right now. And they started selling Spam because they wanted to increase sales. They wanted to sell more pork shoulder cuts. So if you think of a pig, there's like different parts of the pig that we like to eat, right? So in Korean we have like 삼겹살, 목살, all that fun stuff. In English it's the same. So there's the shoulder cut, which literally it's the shoulder right here from the pig. But the problem is usually that meat doesn't taste very good because usually when you're moving around, your shoulders are doing a lot of work, right? Especially if you're a four-legged animal, like a cow or a pig. So usually that meat, it's not very soft, it's very hard, and it doesn't taste all that great. So a lot of companies, they're trying to sell pork, they end up wasting a lot of money on this pork shoulder cuts that no one wanted to buy. So in order to solve this problem and to increase sales of pork shoulder cuts, they invented Spam, which is pork in a can. So Spam is made up of pork, salt, sugar, water, potato starch, and sodium nitrate. So lots of different stuff goes in the can to make Spam. Ken Daigneault, the brother of a Hormel executive, gave the product its name through a contest. Many believe the name is an abbreviation of spiced ham. So this guy, Ken Daigneault, it's a pretty difficult name to pronounce. So he was the brother of a Hormel executive. So in a Korean company, there's like the 회장, right? So he was the brother of the CEO or someone who worked at this company. And they decided to make this new product, but they didn't know what to name it, right? So they decided to have a contest to see who could come up with the most clever or fun name. And they decided to use Spam because it's an abbreviation of spiced ham. So S-P-A-M. So an abbreviation, basically it's like a 줄임말, but in English. So if you put two words together, spiced ham, put them together, Spam, right? So that is called an abbreviation. So an abbreviation basically just means making a word shorter. During World War II, Spam took up a large portion of an American soldier's diet, as delivering fresh meat was difficult. So back during World War II and also during a lot of wars right now, it's pretty difficult to get fresh food to soldiers, right? Because usually the land around where they're fighting, it's not very safe to grow crops. Sometimes there's like bombs in the soil. Sometimes, like if you're making a farm, the enemy, they might shoot bombs at it. not such a good situation. So it's pretty difficult to get a hold of fresh meat, especially. And it's important to have protein when you're fighting in a war, because you need a lot of energy and muscle in order to do well. So a lot of American soldiers ate Spam instead of fresh meat during the war. World War II and subsequent wars allowed for the product to be introduced to places such as Guam, Hawaii, Japan, the Philippines, and Korea. So I know that a lot of Koreans really like Spam, but they're not alone in this. There are a lot of other countries that enjoy eating Spam. So here's Korea, this is Guam, Hawaii, this is Japan, and the Philippines. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. So what all of these places have in common is that they all have US military bases there. So basically, we just said that Spam is associated with the US military, right? So when the US military made bases in all of these places, they also brought Spam with them, and the locals thought it was tasty, so they started eating it too. In 1972, comedy troupe Monty Python released a sketch about Spam, which led to unwanted messages being called Spam. So I actually did not know this, but I think in Korean too, you guys use the word Spam to refer to maybe an email or a call or a text message that you got from someone you did not want to get it from. And in English, it has the exact same meaning. So it can mean either the food or unwanted messages. And the way that this started is because a comedy troupe, so like a group of guys that were really funny, they released a sketch or a short play about Spam. And I guess somehow this became kind of a cultural icon, and lots of people use the word Spam to talk about this without even knowing that this skit ever existed. I did not until I was putting this presentation together. Trademarked in over 100 countries, Spam reportedly sold its 8th billion can in 2012. Besides being eaten as a side dish, there are popular meals based around Spam, including Hawaii's Spam Misubi. Very cool. So, as we mentioned, Spam, it's really popular in a lot of different countries. So it has a trademark, so they're the only ones that are allowed to sell Spam as Spam using that name. And because the product is so popular, it sold 8 billion cans as of 2012. There are 8 billion people on this planet. So they sold as many cans of Spam as there are people in the world. That's pretty crazy. So lots of Spam is getting eaten all around the world. And the ways that people can eat Spam, they eat it as a side dish, and they can also eat it in lots of other ways, like budae-jjigae or other Korean foods that use Spam. But an interesting addition that I did not know about is a Hawaiian food called Spam Misubi. So in Hawaii, there are lots of immigrants from Japan, from pre-World War II era. So a lot of Hawaiian cuisine and food, it's very heavily influenced by Japanese food. So it almost kind of looks like Spam sushi. So I actually really want to try it. It looks very tasty. All right, well, today we learned about the history of a very tasty snack, Spam. So I hope that all of you enjoyed this video and you learned something new about a food that you might have enjoyed. I certainly did. All right, well, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, make sure to let us know in the comments section below. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week. Bye!